I think we can all agree that we need to do something about climate change. I think we can all agree that as an industry and as a society, we need to change our ways. And while we might not necessarily agree on the correct path towards net zero, I think we can all agree that a change of construction equipment fuel will be inevitable. I'm not going to get into electric versus hydrogen. That's a debate for another day. People are far smarter than me are still trying to figure that one out. And in truth, it's currently like comparing oranges with pineapples. Hydrogen might yet offer to the best alternative for a certain weight class of machines, but it's not here yet. The fuel isn't widely available, and we actually don't know how much it's likely to cost. On the other hand, pure electric brings with it a bunch of logistical issues, but it's available right now. As I said, I'm not going to get drawn into all of that. One of the main reasons I'm not going down that path is that, in all likelihood, it will probably make very, very little difference to equipment operators. I've driven both hybrid machines and all electric machines, and aside from the lack of noise, you can't really tell the difference. The electric machines I've driven have been a little more responsive, but the pedals and the levers are all where they normally are, and they do precisely the same thing. I haven't had the opportunity to drive a hydrogen machine as yet, but based on JCB's hydrogen combustion engine, the same rules will apply. The only real difference for an operator is remembering to put electric or hydrogen into the machine rather than diesel. However, there is a breed of industry professionals upon which this switch will have a profound and lasting effect. And I wonder if this switch, when it comes, might prompt some of them to just call it a day, taking their knowledge, skills, and experience with them. The people I'm talking about are those unsung heroes of the sector, the fitters and the mechanics that keep the wheels and tracks of the industry turning. Fitters and mechanics have already seen their roles undermined by a transition to powertrain systems so complex that they require the presence of a laptop and a scientist. But the switch to alternative fuels could have an even greater impact. If the road to net zero turns out to be via hydrogen combustion engines, they'll probably be just dandy. In the case of JCB, the hydrogen combustion engine is so similar to the diesel power pack from which it's derived that they are built and assembled on exactly the same production line. If, however, the final switch is all electric or hydrogen fuel cell, that will present the industry's fitters and mechanics with a very, very stark choice. They can either go back to school and learn the inner workings of a hydrogen fuel cell, or they could possibly hang up their spanners once and for all and leave the industry forever. Obviously, any transition will be slow and gradual, so in all likelihood, today's fitters could find themselves working on diesel, electric, and hydrogen machines simultaneously. But there could come a time when the skills of a trained fitter are no longer required on a day to day basis. What happens to them then? Who is going to cover the cost of upskilling those already skilled people just because somebody has shifted the fuel goalposts? Will they actually want to go back to school and basically unlearn everything they know? And while I'm about it, who stands to gain the most from this? As I mentioned earlier, construction equipment has been made so complex and sophisticated that maintenance of some machines is now beyond the skill levels of most of those on site or in the company workshop. You have no option now but to call out a dealer representative who will arrive with his laptop and his sonic screwdriver. But imagine how complex it will become if we switch to all electric or all hydrogen. We've already seen a prototype machine from Bobcat that operates with a dry system. No fuel lines, no hydraulics whatsoever. Everything is powered by electric motors and servos. Even the most skilled modern fitter will be left scratching his beard trying to fix something like that. And like I said at the outset, I'm all for saving the planet and limiting the impact of climate change. And if that means switching to alternative fuels, then so be it. But know this, as we herald in a new era of hydrogen or electric power, we're possibly bringing down the curtain on an era in which a man with a spanner could fix just about anything.